Today we have 5 Porsches here, and I'll show you which 911s are suitable as investments in 2025. Be sure to stick around because our number one pick has the potential to absolutely skyrocket. We've been trading Porsches for more than 6 years and have already turned over more than 20 million euros in the process. This gives us a constant view of the market, and today we're sharing our assessment for 2025 with you because some vehicles won't perform as well. So we're now in our office and we're going to go through the 5 Porsche models we've selected for 2025 as top investments together. Today we'll be evaluating the vehicles based on 5 categories: technology, unique selling point, production numbers, market availability, and price development. These categories give us a clear picture of how well each model is suited as a long-term investment. In each category, we award between 1 and 5 stars. Before we get started, if you want more market analyses and insights from the sports car market, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're out in the market every week, analyzing prices and trends and keeping you up to date here. Back to the video. Let's move on to the first car, the Porsche 991.1 GTS. The 991.1 GTS secures 5th place on our list as the last regular 911 with a naturally aspirated engine. Technically, the GTS is solid but not revolutionary. The 3.8-liter naturally aspirated engine is a strong unit, but technically not outstanding. 2 out of 5 points. Its unique selling point as the last naturally aspirated engine of its kind isn't bad, but it's also not strong enough to compete with the other vehicles in our comparison. That's why here as well, 2 out of 5 points. Let's move on to the production numbers. With a total of 10,159 units built, including 1,525 Targas, 5,510 Coupés, and 3,124 Cabriolets, it's too common to have truly strong investment potential. That's why here as well, 2 out of 5 points. So let's move on to the market supply. For this, let's take a look at mobile.de, and the 991 GTS has 430 horsepower, so that's another 30 more than the Carrera S and 4S, and lo and behold, there are only 48 vehicles on the market. That's really not bad. Still, even in our comparison, there are cars with significantly lower production numbers. However, if you subtract the number of cars with less than 50,000 kilometers, another 10 to 15 vehicles would likely drop out. So solid, but not really outstanding. That's why, given this development, it gets 2 out of 5 points. Finally, let's talk about price development. In terms of price, the GTS is stable, but only slightly increasing. It roughly keeps up with inflation, but doesn't really go beyond that. So for this criterion as well, 2 out of 5 points. Overall, that means 1.8 or 2 out of 5 points. Not bad for anyone looking for a solid modern vehicle with a manageable budget and the desire to maintain value. With that, we move on to the second vehicle, and we're staying with the 991 series, the 991 GT3 Touring. The 991 GT3 Touring is a true driver's car. Motorsport technology meets understatement. No big rear wing, but full GT3 performance. For me, it's the most beautiful Touring because unlike the 992 Touring, it still has real understatement. And that's just missing in the new one. Let's talk about the technology. 4 liters, high revving, naturally aspirated engine, no particulate filter, no PDK. Exactly what many people want. 3 out of 5 points. On top of that, the very first GT3 Touring ever and only available with a manual transmission. Here too, 2 out of 5 points. Let's move on to the production numbers. It's estimated that only around 1,000 units were built, and that's really rare for a new 911. There are no official figures, but the forums assume about 1,000 units. 3 out of 5 points. Let's talk about the market. The 991 GT3 Touring has 500 horsepower, and under model variant, let's enter Touring. And lo and behold, there are only 23 vehicles on the market. In fact, some of them even have a few kilometers on the clock. And for the Touring, I always recommend full bucket seats, lift system, extended leather package, or 18-way seats with lift system and extended leather package. Those are good options. And then up to about 50,000 kilometers, I would consider buying such a car, though preferably with fewer kilometers, of course. Ideally somewhere between 10,000 and 30,000, but the selection is quite limited. That's why the Touring also gets 2 out of 5 points here. Price development. The Touring is rising slowly but steadily, maybe just a bit more than the GTS, but it's not really gaining much in value. It does beat inflation though, so here as well 2 out of 5 points. And overall, that gives the Touring 2.5 out of 5 points. A model with potential, and especially for anyone looking for something modern with strong performance, it's exactly the right car. Let's move on to third place, and this time it's a classic, the Porsche 993 Turbo. The legendary and highly sought-after 993 Turbo is an absolutely iconic vehicle, widely celebrated by automotive enthusiasts and collectors alike. It holds a very special place in Porsche's illustrious history as the final air-cooled turbo model ever produced by the esteemed German manufacturer. Its advanced and meticulously engineered technology, combined with its distinctive air-cooled engine, truly sets it apart. 3.8-liter biturbo, 408 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and all that in the 1990s. That was pure technological progress and is still impressive today. 3 out of 5 points. Unique selling point, the last air-cooled turbo, a really strong USP. 4 out of 5 points. Let's move on to the production numbers, and here it doesn't score quite as well. With around 6,000 units, it was produced relatively often, but it's still not a mass-market product. But more than 2 points can't be awarded here at the moment. And now I'm curious, how many 993 turbos are on the market? Let's go on mobile and take a look. So 993 Turbo, the turbo was available as a standard turbo WLS1 and WLS2. The standard one had 408 horsepower, the WLS1 had 430 horsepower, and the WLS2 had 450 horsepower. So let's check up to the WLS2. And lo and behold, there are only 20 vehicles. Based on my experience, I can tell you one thing. You can forget about at least half of them. So I'd say there are about 10 good vehicles on the market, and that's actually pretty impressive. Here, the 993 Turbo gets 3 out of 5 points. Let's move on to the price development. In general, you can say that the 993 has done really well in recent years. It's been appreciating nicely, and from our internal sales statistics, we can also see that every year the cars are traded at slightly higher prices. Here we give it 3 out of 5 points. So overall, the 993 Turbo gets 3 out of 5 points, a model with good potential for long-term value appreciation, though somewhat limited by the relatively high production numbers. It has already appreciated quite well in the past, but of course you have to want a classic Porsche, and for all those people, this is exactly the right choice. Alright, but now things are getting wild, now it's getting more modern. Now comes the 997.2 GT3 RS. Manual transmission, naturally aspirated engine, lightweight construction, everything we love. Technically, it's a 3.8-liter high-revving, naturally aspirated engine, revs up to 8,500 RPM, 450 horsepower. This is pure motorsport. And when this car hit the market, technically, it was exactly what was possible at that time. Here, it's clearly 5 out of 5 points. And when it comes to the USP, it continues just as strongly. Its unique selling point as the last purebred manual GT3 RS with a naturally aspirated engine makes it extremely sought after. 4 out of 5 points. And the GT3 RS really remains strong. Production numbers are estimated at between 1,600 and 2,000 units. That's more of a mid-range level. Here, 3 out of 5 points. However, there's one thing you shouldn't forget when evaluating it. Many cars were thrashed on the racetrack, which makes it very difficult today to find an example without track use, over-revving, and extensive repainting. That's why we're now going to check the market supply and see how many cars are currently listed. I think there will be extremely few. Let's take a look. So 997 and then 450 horsepower. Yes, and look at that, only 8 listings. That's really not much. Let's take a closer look at what kind of cars these are. Here we have the gray one with the red accents. There was also a white one with gold accents, but the gray one is a bit more popular. And this one here also has the upgraded bucket seats, the leather package, German car from the second owner. 36,000 kilometers, 197,000 euros. Next up here is one styled like the GT3 RS 4.0. That one existed as well. This one has been slightly modified. Then here's one for 209. And it continues. The gray one with gold accents, 229. Here's one with 38,235. So these cars are really rare on the market and have really increased in price. Yes, if you disregard the modified ones, there are only 6 vehicles, so it's clearly 4 out of 5 points for the 907 RS. Now, let's talk about the price development. Prices are already on an upward trend, and the high demand will undoubtedly continue this trend. At the moment, this vehicle captures the spirit of the times like no other and appeals to a younger group of collectors. And this is currently the most dynamic segment in the collector's market. Here as well, 4 out of 5 points, and that also reflects the overall rating. Here, 4 out of 5 points for the 907 Pro 2 GT3 RS, an absolute top investment for 2025. And in the USA, these cars are already being traded for truly crazy sums. We'll show you some here, a few auction results. So as soon as the cars turn 25 years old, their values are likely to increase significantly once again, because then the vehicles can be imported into the USA at a reduced import sales tax rate. And now we come to our number 1 spot, a true classic that holds a special place not only in Porsche history, but also in the hearts of many collectors, the 964 Turbo 3.6. A vehicle that impresses not only with its purest engineering and unique character, but also offers enormous potential as an investment. Let's take a look at why this turbo deserves first place. Let's talk about the technology. As the name suggests, the 3.6 turbo features a 3.6-liter air-cooled 6-cylinder boxer engine, all paired with a single turbo, yes, with a really big turbine. With a compression ratio of 8:1, it has a significantly higher compression than the 3.3 turbo, which ultimately results in better drivability, improved throttle response, and a reduction in turbo lag. It delivers 360 horsepower and 520 Newton meters of torque, but anyone who has ever driven this car knows it feels like double that power. The absolute highlight, unlike its successor, the 903 Turbo, the 306 Turbo still has rear-wheel drive. There's nothing purer than that. It's precisely this direct, unfiltered driving feel that makes it a true driver's car. 4 out of 5 points here for the technology. Unique selling point. The 964 Turbo 36 is the last 911 Turbo with rear-wheel drive and a single turbocharger. A combination that makes it stand out from the crowd of Porsche turbo models. The iconic design with the wide 964 body, the legendary multi-piece speedline wheels, and last but not least, its status as a bad boy car all add to its fascination. A Porsche with maximum character, uncompromising, raw, unique, 4 out of 5 points when it comes to unique features. It continues strongly. Let's move on to the production numbers. With only 1,437 units built, the 964 Turbo is the rarest production turbo from Porsche. For comparison, Porsche built almost 11,000 units of the 3.3 Turbo and around 6,000 units of the 993 Turbo. The 997 Turbo already had 35,000 units, and as for the 991, we better not even start. It probably already reached 6 figures. This extremely low production number makes the 3.6 turbo one of the most sought-after collector's models. Especially cars in original condition with low mileage are an absolute rarity. 3 out of 5 points. But now it gets exciting again, the market supply. Let's see how many turbos are currently being offered. The 964 Turbo 3.6 has 360 horsepower. By the way, the 3.3 liter has 330 horsepower. But it's noticeably more sluggish. It definitely feels like more than just the 30 horsepower difference between them. And I can already see here there are 7 vehicles on offer, extremely manageable. And right at the beginning, there's even one that's not a turbo at all. So then it's actually 6 vehicles, the first one here for 380,000 euros, the second one also for 380,000 euros, and these are cars with 160,000 kilometers, which is really a lot. I don't even consider it collectible, but there are still dealers who put a price tag of 430,000 euros on them. Here 440,000 and here with 120,000, 490,000 euros. So it's really incredible what these vehicles fetch on the market and how rare they are. We only have 6 vehicles here, and I can confirm that from our own experience. It's almost never the case that we get offered a Turbo 3.6. But here's an appeal as well. If you have one, please offer it to us. We are always desperately searching for one of these. So the market supply is very limited, and anyone looking for a technically good example with low mileage either has to wait a very long time or dig deep into their pockets. That's why, once again, it's a clear 4 out of 5 points for the 964 Turbo 3.6. Let's move on to the final criterion, price development. Yes, demand for the 964 Turbo is high, and that is also reflected in its price development. In recent years, values have risen sharply, and experts also believe that this trend will continue. The market for classic Porsches with limited production numbers remains stable, and vehicles with such a history and status have enormous long-term potential. That's why it's 4 out of 5 points here as well. And in the overall rating, the 3.6 Turbo scores 4.8 out of 5 points. For me, this is the ultimate Porsche investment for 2025. Of course, you need a bigger wallet if you want to buy the Turbo today, but for me, it's the perfect investment. So if you're looking for an iconic, purist and value-creating Porsche, you simply can't overlook the 3.6-liter turbo. What do you think? Is the 964 Turbo 3.6 your favorite, or would you have put another model in first place? Write it in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. That shows us that you find these kinds of analyses interesting. And if you don't want to miss any future market analyses or insights from the sports car trade, subscribe to the channel and click the bell, because we regularly bring you real insights from the business, directly from us, straight from the market. See you in the next video. Ciao.